Great. Let us start explaining the no-name platform. The no-name platform has these two main sections, security and inventory. And of course it has reports. Reports is very simple, very easy. We can address it within like a couple of minutes all the way to the end of the class. But at the core is the security and inventory set of pages. Okay. Sections, actually. It's better to call them sections because every single one of these sections has a number of different pages. Okay. Now, the way we're going to approach explaining the no-name platform or conducting this course is as follows. We're going to explain the overview page. We're going to go under inventory. We will talk about stats. We're going to briefly explain what the API's page contains. Then we will go under settings. We're going to explain all these different pages. And we can close this getting started. Got it. Before we revisit the security pages and the inventory pages. Okay. The reason why I would like us to approach it this way is there are information under security and inventory that are only understood once we conclude the configuration, the settings. Okay. So that's the primary reason why we're going to talk about. That's the primary reason why we're going to follow this approach. Okay. All right. Let's begin with overview. Overview, it's a bird's eye view of the security vulnerabilities that the no-name platform has discovered. Okay. At the very top, you see the findings by severity. You see the attackers or the attacker groups and the different attackers per group. And you also see a classification of every single vulnerability that the no-name platform has detected across OWASP. OWASP API Security Top 10 2023. Okay. Actually, we display both frameworks, 2023 and 2019. If you do not know what OWASP is, you need to start learning it. Okay. OWASP. There it is. Okay. Come here and read that stuff. This is independent of no name. Okay. This is independent of no name, but this is at the core of what no name does. Okay. So you need to understand OWASP. It's an industry standard, security industry standard nowadays. Okay. All right. Um, the main reason why we classify our vulnerabilities across OWASP is because it's a known quantity. So individuals may not know, may not have a clear understanding of a specific finding or a specific incident, runtime incident, but they will have a better time understanding them when they are associated with a specific category of OWASP API Security Top 10. Okay, that's the main reason we use this type of a breakdown. Okay, all right. Um, Again, I haven't explained what findings are. I haven't explained what an attacker is. Actually, the attacker is the easiest of the two, right? An attacker is a user that has used the API in an abnormal manner. That's who is an attacker. Okay. All right. I'll explain them in due course, the findings, the attackers, and so on. Actually, I will explain them in a few seconds. All right. If we scroll down, we see two more sections. We see the runtime and the findings, right? Runtime and findings. Findings are further classified into posture findings or recon findings. There's another category called data findings, which is not present right here. Okay. But these are all posture related. I don't know if you remember from the slides. There was a slide that showed the pillars, right? Posture management, right? Do we have any misconfigurations in our ecosystem that is executing our APIs, right? So that's what findings is all about, right? This is what findings is all about. Look at this. Internet-facing host supports weak TLS cipher suites, right? That's a misconfiguration. Somebody installs a certificate and it's making use of the of weak TLS cipher suites, right? Another misconfiguration, an API accept an expired JSON Web Token, right? Misconfigurations. That's what push findings are. Recon findings, and again, recon findings are turned off in all training environments because I'm not allowed to turn them on, right? They're very expensive. But recon findings is all about scanning your ecosystem for potential sensitive data, right? What do I mean by sensitive data? I don't know, client IDs, client secrets, username, passwords, tokens. It's not rarely in a large organization, even in small organizations, where one of the members of the organization, forgets and publishes to the internet this type of sensitive details. It could be inside a GitHub repository. It could be unnecessarily exposing documentation, API documentation that bad actors can exploit, and so on. So the no-name platform has the ability to scan domains, discover subdomains of an organization for such findings, for such type of information. And if we find any, we present it to you so you can take corrective action. We do it proactively so you're able to preempt. Okay? Preempt potential attack. Right? And I told you there is an extra one, data findings. What are data findings? Data findings are triggered because a data policy is violated. Think of data policies as being your data loss prevention um, configuration. Okay? That's what a data policy is. We will be configuring a data policy in the near future in a subsequent section. Okay? So we have findings because of misconfigurations due to the posture management, and then we also have incidents or runtime incidents, which of course is all about abnormal behavior, anomalous behavior. Every time the no-name platform discovers a brand new API, every time the no-name platform discovers a brand new API, that API is going to undergo what is called the learning period. The no-name platform needs to learn what constitutes normal behavior. And it will capture that normal behavior in a data science model. That's what it's going to do, right? There's a model, data science, and again, data science is statistics paired with machine learning, AI in other words, right? That's what data science is. So that we're going to collect traffic, until we satisfy all the learning parameters. These learning parameters, the easiest ones that I'm going to expose you to guys is time and users. These are the two easiest ones. That's the ones I want to expose you. As soon as the number of days have lapsed, as soon as the number of users have been satisfied, we claim that we have learned the API, and now we have learned the API with respect to its normal behavior, and now we're able to detect abnormal behavior, right? Every single instance of an abnormal behavior manifests itself in the form of a runtime incident. And because this runtime incidents, these incidents are triggered because users use the API in an anomalous manner, in an abnormal manner, guess what? We also organize those incidents against the users who have triggered them. In other words, the attackers, right? The attackers. Okay, that's why you see attackers right here. We have 3 attackers in the last 30 days, and so on. Okay, and again, this list down here, what you see down here, may change over time. These graphs, as I mentioned earlier on, simply because the time has lapsed. So you may see a flat line going all the way to the top. Okay, and again, it shows the last 30 days. So in the last 30 days, you may see a flat line all the way to the bottom after the 30 days have lapsed. And again, I triggered those incidents 2 days ago, April 25th. Okay, keep all that in mind. Now, an important distinction between runtime incidents and findings. Sometimes I'm going to be calling these just incidents, so that we can get past that extra runtime and so on, right? So an important distinction between incidents and findings is that incidents may have false positives. Machine learning, my good people, is not deterministic. Again, I told you we're building a data science model, right? What do we use to build a data science model? Machine learning, right? So we can capture normal behavior. There are scenarios where we may have false positives. On the other hand, in findings, the chance of a false positives is rare to non-existent. And I understand this is a very strong statement, right? I understand there are scenarios where even in findings we may have something that doesn't look right, right? But the cases, the scenarios that this may happen are very rare, right? And I do have some examples where this has happened, and it has nothing to do with the actual finding. It had to do with the interpretation, right? So beyond our scope, I don't want to get into this rabbit hole. We're just going to move on. The only thing you need to take with you, findings, all the findings, whether they're data, whether they're recon, whether they're posture, right? The 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 chance that you may have false positives, zero to low, very low to non-existent. Okay. On the other hand, runtime incident may have false positives. Let me give you a scenario when we may have a false positives. Okay. So during the learning period, we have captured, like we have satisfied the number of users, we have satisfied those learning parameters, right? The number of users, we have satisfied the amount of time, and all of a sudden, we learned the API, and all of a sudden we have an abnormal use case, a use case we haven't seen before, right? We haven't captured. So the no-name platform is going to trigger an incident, okay? And that incident is going to manifest itself on this page, on all the other pages, and so on. And this is a legit case. It's an actual legit case, but it's an edge case. We didn't happen to see it while we were learning the API, right? So what are we going to do? Well, there are ways in the no-name platform to accommodate for this. If you have edge cases we didn't capture or the no-name platform did not capture during the learning period, you can go ahead and you can tell the no-name platform, hey, listen, this is a legit use case. I want you to add it to the model, to the learned model that captures the normal behavior of the API. Okay? How can you do that? By the way, every single link that you see right here is clickable, right? So if I go ahead and I select this total incident, it's going to take me under runtime, the incidents page, and I'm going to show you how you can do that. So if I go and I select one of these and I go to the status, there's an option called false positive. Okay? So if you have an incident, a runtime incident, and it's part of your legit use cases, it's normal behavior, but you didn't happen to see it while we were learning that normal behavior, you can come in here and set it as false positive. This is going to tell the no-name platform this is legit, added to the model that captures normal behavior. Okay? We're going to see the other statuses as we go along with the course. For the time being, that's the only thing you need to take with you. And I'm going to go back to the overview. The last thing I'm going to mention to you is that every single one of these diagrams, you can move them. Like I can grab this, move it down here. I don't find it very useful personally, but it's their own, right? So if you find it useful, be my guest. There's no way you can store now this ugly look and feel that you just created. Thankfully, you can always refresh and you can go back to the original look and feel. Okay? And that, my good people, is the overview page. We're going to do one more. We're going to talk under inventory, the stats pages. Very similar look and feel like the overview, but unlike the security overview page, this is the inventory stats page, which gives us metadata or a bird's eye view about the different APIs that the no-name platform has discovered, the different APIs and their metadata. Okay, as you can see, we have different data type tags, we have different data types, we have different types of APIs that I discovered. And again, for our course, I'm using straight up RESTful APIs, right? They're the easiest to work with, the easier to understand. And at some point, I want to have at least one of all the other forms so that at least I can show you what they look like uh, when I have time. Right? I don't have time to do it right now, so that's why you only see the RESTful APIs right here. The other thing you're going to see is authentication information, recon infrastructure of what was discovered, API classification, and so on. Okay, and you can move them around like before. And with this, right, with this, we have concluded this section of our course. So let me go to the section end. There you go.